Hello everybody, today I just wanted to talk about the Vampiric powers and how they're going to affect the companion builds that I play. So I just wanted to go ahead. Now there's two main companion builds that I like to play. The first one's the Druid, recently adding in the whole Earthen Bulwark thing to it. And then the next thing that I'm going to I like doing is I like playing kind of like a werewolf pack leader kind of thing, where I just focus on Poison Creeper, I drop Ravens, and I focus on like Shred, Poison Creeper, and the Wolves. So for that, the first thing I want to say is Coven's Fangs is going to be just 100% really good, because if we look at the Barber is 14% every single second. Right now, granted, I think it comes out to be a little bit more because of like the way it like ramps up. It does 14% of damage, and like another 14. So I think the Barber still does more damage in this one, but at the same time, as long as this turns out to be multiplicative, I think this is going to be pretty good, because everything's going to be crowd controlled all the time, so you're going to lose the explosion. But I think this is going to be a really good replacement for the Barber, just because it's going to give you that 52% damage increase. Not only that, it gives you a way to get Vampiric Curse onto enemies, so you can get the souls and all that stuff. Yeah, so not too bad. I think this is going to be the first main one that I run. The next thing, and I'm going to do like an honorable mention on things I'm going to mess around with too after that. The next thing is going to be Domination. You deal 24% increased damage to enemies who are stunned, immobilized, frozen, or feared. If they're also injured and not an elite, they're instantly killed. I think this is pretty good. This is going to give us a nice little execute to help speed things up a little bit. Now, for specifically the pack leader one, I think I'll be running this one as well, because it only takes one eternity, so it's not bad. But your companion minion hits have a 60% chance to restore your resource, as well as increase your damage by 10%. Since we are playing a Shred Druid in that build, this is actually pretty good, because your wolves will be hitting things and giving you back your resource. Your Poison Creeper and stuff like that will be giving you back resource, and it's going to give you a 10% damage amp. So this is pretty good in terms of the pack leader one. And then here, let's see, the next one would be this. No, that's more of an honorable mention. Where was it at? Okay, so this one right here I think might be good in the like poison pack leader, since we're going to be running like Blurred Beast and stuff like that. So I think dealing more poison damage could be good. I'm not 100% certain how good it would be, but it's definitely going to be one of the first ones that I try. Oh, right here, Prey on the Weak. So this one will go into both. You deal 16% increased damage to vulnerable enemies, because we are always going to have things vulnerable. And not only that, because we get our Vampiric Curse from Coven's Fangs, it's actually going to give us another way to make things vulnerable, because vulnerable enemies are vulnerable while affected by your Vampiric Curse. So whenever you make things cursed, it also makes them vulnerable, which is going to be pretty nice. Next up here, let's see. So you have this one, Resilience. This is probably going to be the only defensive one that I run. You gain 1% damage reduction for each 2% life you are missing. I think this is going to be a decent replacement for the whole loss of the Heart of Regret that we're losing from Season 1. So I'll probably be running that in place of it. Now, keep in mind, we still have not seen the new legendaries or the new uniques, so we have no idea what those do. And there's going to be probably about 6 uniques. I would say maybe about somewhere between 5 to 8 uniques are probably going to get added, as I would imagine they're going to do 2 general ones, and then they're going to do I don't know, maybe it might actually be more than that. And the reason why I say that is because they said specifically there are going to be uniques on the Ubers. That is plural. They say like plural uniques on each Uber. So it's making me think we might see a lot of unique items about to be added to the game. So I think that could just be absolutely, if that does end up happening, that's going to be absolutely game changing. Who knows what they're going to be adding in. Hopefully some stuff for Ravens, because I think Ravens is by far the skill that I wish had more love on it right now, companion wise. So, Windstruck, you have a 14% chance to fear nearby enemies to slow them. No, that's not. I was thinking about that one, but no. Okay, so now, down here. So now we pretty much have 3, right, that we said we have like 3 or 4, I think, here to run. So we have Prey in the Weak, we have Resilience, right, and then we have Coven's Fangs here. Now, keep in mind we can only use 5, so you'll have to kind of pick between the ones I'm pointing out, but these are going to be all the best ones for the companion builds. But so next over here we have major vampiric powers. So depending on how good they are, I really am interested in running this because the whole souls thing, depending on how the souls work, this could be a really cool thing to add to a Zoo Druid because it gives you like this sort of accursed theme to the Zoo Druid where you're also like casting souls in addition to all of your minions and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. So I will end up running this one if that does be the case. Otherwise, I'm probably only going to run Moonrise because I run Great Staff with the Crone in my companion builds. So hitting an enemy with a basic skill gives you more attack speed, stacking up to 5 times. You get 20% attack speed, and then it max stacks, so you get 160% basic skill damage. Now this is multiplicative, this will be great. And then 15% movement speed for 10 seconds. So this one right here and this one right here are probably going to be the two best ones because we don't really have any channeling skills, right? We don't do overpower. Casting, we're not really using a Wrath skill, so even getting this Call Familiar isn't really going to be all that great. I will say this though, when it comes to the Poison Pack Leader, Flowing Veins, it'll probably be Flowing Veins and Moonrise. I actually kind of forgot about this one. So yeah, you deal 60% increased damage over time to enemies that are moving or affected by a Vampiric Curse. So this one's going to be really good for the Poison Pack Leader, right? But I'm going to run this one and this one both, probably in the Poison Pack Leader, and then in the just regular Zoo Druid I'll probably run Moonrise, and then I might run the Accursed Touch one. But if not, I'm just going to run Moonrise, and then I'll run these 4 here, you know, so like Resilience, you know, we go the, yeah, so the Resilience, Prey on the Weak, Coven's Fangs, and then I guess I don't know. I guess I'll have to figure out one other one to run. Probably, I might actually try out this one, Undying, because casting skills heal you for 3% life. So I might actually try out that Undying one in terms of the Zoo Druid, because I'm not really going to want to run Feed the Coven on the Zoo Druid version because I don't use a core skill, but on the Pack Leader version, I probably will want to use Feed the Coven. So yeah, but that's kind of the Vampiric powers and my take on what you should be, I guess, what you should potentially be running if you're doing any of the builds that I post here. I think these are going to be the best ones. Metamorphosis. So now going to like kind of like honorable mentions. I will say this: Anticipation's interesting because for the Poison Pack Leader, because it could give you kind of a, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, you could potentially use Lacerate maybe here. So I think that's pretty cool. This could make Lacerate really, really good because Lacerate already has like a really low cooldown now. And this, you walk up, you poison creeper things, you could give it like, you know, 200% increased damage. So this is something I want to play around with Lacerate and see if I can make Lacerate pretty good. Another one. Let's see here. What was the other one? Yeah, so this one, Infection, I need to mess around with. There was the one that does. Oh, is it up here? Oh yeah, right here. Hemomancy, your attacks deal 80% of your max life as physical damage. So I'm interested to see how much damage this does, because it could be interesting to like stack life and do that. But again, it's all just going to come down to how much damage this stuff actually does. Because I know people say like, oh well, it only does 80% damage, so you know it's not that much. Well, in my mind, this game has so many bugs in it that I just don't actually believe anything until I test it. Because for example, if you were to look at the Earthen Bulwark like shrapnel thing, you would never think that it's going to crit for 30 million, right? But it does for some reason, right? Certain things work, and it just doesn't really have a solid explanation in the game. So I'm definitely going to be testing out a lot of these just to kind of see, just to make sure nothing weird like that happens. But yeah, there's so many bugs in the game, it's just, yeah, pretty intense. Yeah, and then, you know, obviously Metamorphosis, this one could be good if you want Unstoppable. 160% physical damage, and enemies are inflicted with Vampiric Curse. That could be kind of cool. I don't think these ones are good. And then, I mean, the Call Familiar, like if I can find a way to put a Wrath skill in there that makes sense. I don't know if I'll be able to do this with the Zoo Druid build, but I mean, heck, you could do a pretty fun build in lower tiers. You couldn't do this really in high tiers, I don't think, but like if you're like in World Tier 3, you could probably run Call Familiar. You could probably also run Anticipation on the Poison, like Werewolf Pack Leader type Druid. And it could be pretty fun because you can put your Rabies skill in there, because I believe Rabies is the Werewolf Wrath skill. So, and that could actually give you the Bat Familiar too, so that could be interesting if you wanted to do like a Bat Familiar with that build, but yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on just the Vampiric powers, trying to go a little bit more in depth in terms of, you know, what's going to happen. I do think that the Zoo Druid builds are going, and the companion builds are going to be better, or they should theoretically be better than what they were last season. And the reason why I say that is because if we look at like what we got from the last season theme, we got the Barber, which is being replaced by Coven's Fangs. We got the subtlety aspect, which is being replaced by Resilience, which is a nerf to defense, because I do think this is worse than the just flat 18% damage suppression. But the other thing is that we had like the Moonrage, right, where we got one more Wolf and plus 3 ranks to Wolves, which, yeah, it sucks to lose that, but that one wasn't really doing a whole lot for us, like if I'm just being completely honest. So that was something you ran because it was like probably the best option for that build, but it wasn't anything to write home about. So, and in place of that, we're getting, you know, you deal 24% more damage, so we're just getting more multiplicative damage bonuses that are probably going to just outdo what the Moonrage is. We're just getting more access to powers in general, especially when you consider the Moonrise. This one is going to be bonkers for the Zoo Druid. Like, anybody that can use basic skills and utilize them, like what, you know, I think Stormclaw is going to be pretty good this season, stuff like that. Like any build that can utilize this one. Because one thing I will say, as kind of a critique, I guess, of the Vampiric powers, is I actually don't think there's enough major ones. I think that these are all really specific, and I think there's going to be a lot of builds that don't really have anything particular that's like super good. Right? Like they're just going to end up running like 5 of these and not running any of the Metamorphosis powers, which I don't really like. Because look at this, right? It says, like this, like while channeling a skill you form, like how many skills channel, right? Not like a whole lot of builds don't even really use basic skills in this sort of way where they would even care about the basic skill damage. The Metamorphosis one I think is going to be pretty big because it's going to give people unstoppable whenever they evade, so I think this is going to be taken by a lot of people. But yeah, they definitely need, they definitely should have added in, I think, a few more major ones, because I think there's going to be a decent amount of builds where all they do is run the miners, because the miners are just, you know, there isn't really anything here to benefit. Now, keep in mind, depending on how the souls work, this might be insane for every class. So, you know, but we'll find out. Anyways, so that's my thoughts on the Vampiric powers in terms of how they're going to fit into the builds that I play. But anyways, thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.